What European competitions can you name? Champions League, that's easy, the Europa League as well, and you'd have to be living under a rock if you haven't heard about the Conference League. Whether you agree with the current format of those tournaments or not, I assume you believe that those competitions have their own value, and if your club had a chance to win it, you certainly wouldn't refuse it. However, the forgotten European competition that I will talk about today was so pointless that various German and English clubs have refused to participate in it. And to make it even worse, in the majority of its 47-year history, each edition had several winners. So, we're Thorn FC, and this is a forgotten history of UEFA's most ridiculous competition. Now, in case you haven't guessed already by my description, the tournament that I'm talking about is the Intertoto Cup. Created in 1961, the Intertoto Cup was a brainchild of Eric Persson, Ernst B. Thoman and Karl Rappen, three important management figures in football from that period. Their idea was to give teams that didn't qualify to the other two European competitions a chance to get a taste of international football. That's so thoughtful of them, right? Well, that might be partially correct, but in reality, one of the founders, Ernst Thoman, had set up football betting in Switzerland back in 1932, and he had a major interest in having purposeful matches played out in the summer to guarantee that his pockets never got lighter, no matter the time of the year. UEFA saw right through their bullshit and declined any official involvement in the competition, which made the logistics of the tournament much harder to organize. Either way, the three men didn't give up, and the first edition went on as planned, with 32 clubs, almost all of them from Central Europe, contesting a group stage, with the first place from each group advancing to the knockouts. Ultimately, two Dutch teams met in the finals, with Ajax coming out on top as the Intertoto Cup's first winner. During the next 6 editions, the tournament followed the same structure, and 4 other winners were crowned. But as time went on, all the wrong things about the Intertoto Cup came to light. For starters, it was crammed between the end of an exhausting campaign and the beginning of pre-season, which forced the participating staff to give up their summer holidays to play in front of small crowds because the fans themselves didn't really care about it. To make it worse, we're talking about the 1960s, where traveling across countries wasn't as easy as it is nowadays, and without UEFA support, the Intertoto Cup barely paid the winners, let alone the travel expenses of the clubs who were eliminated in the earlier rounds. As a result, the organizing board ditched the knockout rounds altogether and declared the first place in every group a winner of the competition, with the club with the best performance being declared the outright winner of the Intertoto Cup. As you can tell, this competition had as much value as a kids' summer tournament, where everyone, no matter how bad they played, gets a trophy. It was a meaningless cup without a final or a tangible prize, and everyone knew that, but somehow it survived with this format for almost 30 years, until UEFA in 1995 decided to take over the tournament and give an actual reason for the clubs to care about it. Not only did they kinda bring back the knockout rounds, yes, I say kinda because there wasn't really a final, it was more like the winners of the 2 semi-finals, but they also increased the number of participatings to 60, dividing them all into 12 groups of 5, so to sum it all up, it was completely confusing. And to cap it all off, the winners of those 2 semi-finals were given a spot in the first round of the UEFA Cup, the predecessor of the Europa League. That revamp was a massive success, as Bordeaux, one of the first winners in the new format, made it all the way to the UEFA Cup final in that same season. Of course, that has more to do with the fact that they had Zinedine Zidane in their roster, and not so much to do with the momentum that winning the Intertoto Cup gave them. But those performances were enough to convince UEFA to increase from 2 to 3 winners per year, and as a consequence, more spots in the more prestigious UEFA Cup. Still, even with that added incentive, many clubs still saw the Intertoto Cup as a joke and didn't want to mess with their pre-season plans. To paint a better picture in your mind, even though England had 3 spots to fill in the tournament, no club from the top division was willing to participate. Eventually, Sheffield Wednesday, Tottenham and Wimbledon reluctantly agreed to take part, but only due to the threat of England being banned from competing in both the Champions League and the UEFA Cup. In reality, they should have just stayed at home, as both Tottenham and Wimbledon filled the reserves and got completely battered, which resulted in England losing a spot in UEFA Cup. Yeah, this wasn't looking good. For 1 or 2 positive things that it brought, there were several ridiculous aspects that could never be fixed. And as time passed, it only got worse. The main selling point of the Intertoto Cup was the small teams from all across Europe receiving a decent spotlight. During its history, you had teams from Kazakhstan, Cyprus, Bulgaria, Sweden being declared winners. That was almost impossible in every other European competition, so football fanatics kinda saw some value in it, even if it was merely from an emotional point of view. But after UEFA got their hands on it and started offering places in their UEFA Cup, the bigger leagues eventually started taking the tournament seriously, which culminated with 33 out of the next 35 winners coming all from the top 5 leagues, with the 2 exceptions being Braga and Silkeborg. As you can see, if the Intertoto Cup was initially seen as a joke, after UEFA took over, it became a whole comedy show. It was ridiculous to constantly crown mid-table sides as European champions, so after one more attempt to revamp the tournament in 2006, the Intertoto Cup was finally put to rest in 2008, with Braga being crowned as the Cup's last ever winners. Ultimately, the Intertoto Cup brought some important topics to discussion, as the value of giving smaller sides a chance to compete internationally, but its formats and lack of meaningful prizes always dented the competition. Nowadays, we have the Conference League that rightfully fulfills its role of giving some much needed resources to teams all across Europe and, most importantly, a good spectacle for those who support clubs outside the big leagues. It's completely fair to criticize UEFA, but trust me when I tell you, we have it so much better nowadays. And that is it for the video. Don't forget to leave a like so I know you want to watch more content like this, and subscribe to never miss the most interesting football discussions, stories and top 10 lists. Thank you for watching till the end, I appreciate you and I will see you soon.